Hello, everyone. This is Carrie Desberg, Chief Marketing Officer with Impartner. We make partner relationship management software, which helps leading companies around the world manage the performance of their channel. We are fortunate enough to work with some of the world's top corporations out there, from Xerox to Fortinet to Dell Boomi. It's my pleasure to welcome Scott Boyd. He is the Global Director of Partner Programs for Dell Boomi. He's joining us today for our Lessons from the Edge and best practices with our top customers out there. Welcome, Scott. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Carrie, and hello to everybody.
You know, the topic today is one that was spurred by a conversation that Scott and I had a few weeks ago. And we were really talking about digital transformation and the power of technologies like Impartner to really enhance the performance of channel teams everywhere. And Scott made the comment, and I just loved it. He said, your technology helps make our small resources look like an army of 10. You know, it certainly as a vendor, we love to hear that, but what's important about Lessons from the End series and best practices is really how someone got to that state. You know, what really happened to get you there? And Scott, from my perspective, Dell Boomi really delivers on the promise of digital transformation and on the product or the promise of what automation can do to really be an exoskeleton for your team and really help you deliver more. But today, I'd really love to just discover or just explore the journey that you've been on to get here, because you've been here since the get-go, yeah?
So you know, I joined Dell Boomi about 2.5 years ago, and you know, they had just launched a formal partner program. They definitely had a foundation of partners already at that point, but they wanted to be more of a formalized structure, and one also that dovetails nicely into Dell's overall program too. That was very important. So when I came on board, there was still some you know, filling the gap between where they were and where they want to be from an experience standpoint. And you know, one of the biggest problems that they were facing, or when I first came in, was just getting somebody access to resources, right? Whether it be presentations or case studies, customer testimonials, what have it, right? They were really struggling with empowering their partners and getting them the information they needed to go sell on Boomi's behalf. When I took a look around in the industry, I saw a lot of different options out there. A lot of folks were telling a good story, but when we started to peel back the onion, it became pretty obvious to us that that Impartner had a platform and technology that not only was addressing our needs today, but also had that vision of where we were probably going to go, given what our program looked like. And you know, 2 years later, I'm here to tell you that you guys were spot on. And every time I step, it seems like you're half a step ahead of me, delivering on technology features, whatever that I need. And my comment about you know, making my small team look like an army of 10. You know, as you can imagine, we don't have enough resources to touch all of our partners. I don't know any company that actually does. So what we love about the platform is that it allows our partners to be enabled themselves. They can go in and edit their profiles. They can go in and download documentation and co-brand that, so it looks like we developed that together, right? We can give them a lot of that functionality without needing gatekeepers or more investment in more marketing and that type of thing. So the platform really does make our small team look like an army of 10.
What are some other ways that the automation helps you amplify what you're doing? Maybe something like, how does that help you with onboarding and really just bringing people on board?
Well, Carrie, let me tell you, prior to investing in the platform, almost every user request to get access was a manual approval process. We had to validate whether or not they were really a partner, what kind of email address were they using, that type of stuff. So that's completely automated. Password reset may sound like something silly, but you know, I don't know the last time that I've had to go and reset a password, because the platform now delivers it. But beyond that, it also we've got it integrated very tight with our CRM. So now our partners have a lot more visibility when they submit a lead. What stage is that lead in? Has it been approved? if it's closed won, then they can start to see how much they're going to get in referral credit back to that. So, again, those are all questions that they would be sending emails directly to their account manager or channel account manager or BDM to find out. And now they have a self-service. They can go in and find out for themselves. And not only can they find out, but they can find out in real time, which is really nice. So, the one other thing that I will say is that I don't have any coding experience. I'm not HTML by any stretch. And I go in there and I change content almost on a weekly, if not daily basis. So for me to be able to, and my folks on my team to be able to go in and keep that portal fresh so that as people come into it, it's brand new content, and not needing a developer to do that is fantastic.
Well, that's certainly stuff that we like to hear about the value we deliver to customers. What would you say out there? Everybody's, and we're all consuming content just like this, and podcasts, webinars, all of it, until we get that vaccine. We can hopefully get back to who knows. I don't think we're in the new normal yet. I think that phrase can't be used yet. Who knows what normal is? But people listening to this are really looking for guidance to say, oh my gosh, how do I get through this dystopian midterm period? So much of what you're saying is about your team's ability to do more with less. That you can really do more with less, and almost do more somehow, it seems. What would your advice be to folks who out there in 2020 who are struggling to get through this, as far as prioritizing how they ought to think about automating things the way that you have?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a multi-phased approach, really. Obviously this is brand new for all of us. But I think the common denominator for all of us would be we want to come out of this stronger, right? So one of the very first things that we started to do is we started to provide more enablement content around some of the newer technologies. So we knew that people were going to be on fewer planes, fewer hotels, right, and traveling less, which meant hopefully theoretically that they had more time to learn. And so we started providing more and more content out to our partners. We advertised really heavily out to our partners that this content was available, and we got some fantastic take rates on it. And then you kind of you pause for a second, and then you see, okay, are we now starting to see some reaction from that? Are we starting to see some uptick? And we definitely were able to correlate back from the training and the folks that went through it to some of the leads that we were seeing coming through the portal and the additional technologies that we were training on. So I would say first kind of recoil a little bit. If you've got stuff that's been in the hopper that hasn't been adopted widely by your partner community, then get that out there. This is the time right now, right? Take a little bit extra time and advertise it, and then try to do the best that you can from helping your partners remotely. I mean, there's still not a lot of face-to-face meetings happening. There's still not a lot of human interaction going on just yet, but there will be, right? That'll come back. That's human nature in all of us. So we want to make sure that our sales skills, our knowledge are all as polished as possible when we're ready for that. But I will also say that there is going to be a certain amount of this. We joked in the beginning, hopefully this isn't the new norm. There is a certain amount of this that is the new norm, right? There are going to be more calls that are going to be held remote. And there's a certain skill set, technique, and even assets that are needed to be able to deliver an effective selling motion remotely. And you just need to make sure that you've got assets for both the live type of meetings that will be coming back, as well as the current remote assets that you need to be making available to your partner community.
So what would your advice be to somebody who hasn't yet put in a PRM system and they're still trying to do it on spreadsheets or some compilation of tools? What kind of, it's scary to think about doing a digital transformation right now. What would be your advice to somebody who hasn't done it and pulling the trigger right now, and again in this midterm period that who knows when it's going to end?
For every day that you're not doing it, you're getting farther and farther behind your competition. Again, one of the things I mentioned was how every time we had a need, it seemed like Impartner was one step ahead of us. addressing that need, right? That's because you guys have seen it 10, 20, 30 times, right? We're still feeling out the industry. We're looking at what our competitors are doing. We're trying to make sure that the experience that Dell Boomi provides is second to none within the industry. And candidly, our competitors are doing some great things out there, and we want to, competition makes everybody better. So, we want to continue to evolve our partner experience, and so, a big part of that evolution was investing in this platform that could allow us to constantly update the material, that could allow us to track leads and have leads submitted dynamically and connected to our CRM. And going forward, I know there's some modules, and this isn't a sales pitch by any stretch, but one of my pain points is knowing when a partner's anniversary date comes up, where exactly do they stand with the partner program requirements? And I know there's certain modules that are coming out or have come out actually already that automate that process for you. And I'm very much looking forward to that, because there's some heavy gathering going on my side behind the scenes, trying to figure out, okay, is this partner still compliant? Do I need to promote this partner? What partners are my long tail partners, or even farther back that haven't transacted business for me in a while that I need to put into a dormant state, right? And that's really important as well. But if I'm constantly trying to update a website, if I'm constantly trying to fix issues with integration through my developer team or a platform that I developed in-house, then that's going to take away my cycles from actually providing governance on my program that I need, that's really important for the industry and for the partners to play nicely with each other as well. So I would say, take an overall look. When Boomi looked internally, like, should we continue to build it internally, or should we invest in a cloud-based platform? I totally took a look at the number of hours it would take us to continue to develop and evolve it, and what kind of commitment of resources I could get from the operations team. I also looked at the number of productivity hours from our sales team. How hard is it for our direct sales team to find the right partner with the right opportunity? Do we have those tools available? And ultimately, the way I was able to justify the investment in the platform, the Impartner platform, was truly the productivity I was going to give back both to the operations team and back to the sales leaders. So I won't say that was an easy journey whatsoever, but I will say that was a key part in getting to the end of the journey, which was attaching the cost of or the investment to the productivity savings and ultimately driving the revenue.
I think that's great advice. I can tell you that I was watching you guys come through the sales process, and it's hard getting a company on board with a big technology purchase, especially something like this that's a system of record, right? You touch so many stakeholders, and sales ops and marketing and channel and all of it, and getting stakeholders aligned, I do think, is a superpower in getting to make a technology buy like that. And I think that sage advice is really building that business case. When we see companies do that, and people like yourself do that, we see that sale go much, much more effectively. What would you say, just in general, to folks who are saying, okay, Scott, I hear what you're saying. I hear how this 10x is your team, and certainly right now helps you get through a period of time where most of us aren't getting more resources, right? We're just trying to get through this whole deal. How would you tell people, what would be your advice on what are a couple things they need to do to get started to really get in motion and get through a transformation like this?
I think one of the aha moments for me, or wide-eyed moments for me, was I had an opportunity to speak to one of your sales leaders, right? And I described how our program was set up, and the dials that we wanted to kind of manipulate a little bit to make sure that the business was focusing on the right areas that we wanted to, and growing higher into the market and stuff like that. And like, just off the cuff, he said, well, why don't you try this, this, and this? And being a professional in this role, it feels like I should know that stuff like the back of my hand. But the one or two things that they suggested were kind of like, that might work. I can see how I can leverage that, and that would achieve the goals that we were looking for. So, one of the things I would say is, not only do you guys provided a platform for me and great technology and my army of 10, but I also look to you to bounce ideas off of and consult. And you have a much wider view of all industries, not just my industry. And what is working in a different industry may work perfectly for me. So I look to you guys to be kind of my consultant as well as just a technology provider.
Well, again, I love to hear that as a company, and that definitely is something that we hear a lot from our customers is you look to us not just to be a technology provider, but to also be a channel expert that brings to bear all of the wonderful folks like you that we work with every day, and what's happening out there with the rest of those customers that you can search and reapply to your own businesses. So I'm glad that's happening, and that's absolutely our intent. So hey, I really appreciate this conversation, Scott. I know that making a shift like this is hard, and it's a heavy lift to get everybody on board. Do you have any final thoughts? If somebody's out there on the edge, you already said that every day that you wait, that you're another day behind. Maybe we close out by saying, at the end of the day, does the fact that you have automated the way that you have and the way that you can create an experience for your partner, does that give you a strategic competitive advantage in the marketplace that helps you not only survive this, but stand ahead against the competition, ahead of the competition in this crazy period?
It's definitely one of many factors. When I take a look at the entire life cycle of an experience I've created, right, it has a lot to do with, we advisory boards and summits that we hold throughout the year, has to do with the product launches, how we communicate with our partners. So all of that is part of, right, the high touch model. We go out on site, the surveys. So what we tend to do is take everything whenever whatever that valuable item is that we're talking about, we always tend to say, and you can learn more about it back on our portal is called the Partner Resource Center. You can learn it back on the Partner Resource Center, right? So we kind of use it as a centralized location for everything, for all the information. Now, I know that's not always easy to do, or in some scenarios can be done, quite honestly, but what we try to do is make sure that people get in the habit of going back there, and that way we have another form of communication, way to push information out to our partners besides just email, because we all know that email spamming isn't really all that effective anymore. So it's definitely one part of that overall experience journey that's setting us apart from our competition.
Well, I love that. I love to hear that. I love to hear the power of the solution to help you achieve your goals as a channel chief out there. Certainly, any of you who are out there listening, love to talk to you about how we can be an exoskeleton for your channel and help you 10x the power of your team as well. So, Scott, thank you again for joining. Really enjoyed the conversation, and look forward to speaking with you soon.